Hey guys, so good afternoon. It's Friday the 31st, and this is going to be my midday. It's actually a little bit early. It's only about 10:30 my time, but I wanted to talk about a few things. Talk about a question that was asked me last night on the live stream, and kind of what do I think about while I'm out here. And that's exactly what I think about. I think about the videos, and sometimes I try to be cute and humorous, and sometimes I try to give some observations, and sometimes I try to send a message. And today might be a little bit of all of those things. So. First, a couple of observations that I had, and I might piss a lot of people off today, but in particular in a couple of them, just hear me out to the end before you guys jump to any conclusions or anything like that, because I don't think there's anything evil I'm going to say about anybody or any place. But I'm trying to be honest, but I do want to share. If you stick with me to the end, you'll see the back point I'm trying to make. Anyway, so a couple observations that I've got. First of all, today, one of the most frustrating things I've ever dealt with. Two things, these little things that people don't realize. I've had for the last couple of weeks this thing with this damn backpack where my left shoulder strap keeps sliding off no matter how tight I make it and how short I make it. It's ridiculous. And all I can think about is what women with a bad bra strap back in the day must have been feeling. All I'm doing all day long is pulling my damn shoulder strap up to the point it's become annoying. The other part is that I wear hats because I sweat an awful lot out here, and I rotate them. But I thought along when I started the journey, along with these kind of wristbands and things that people give me to remember them by, I thought I'd be getting a lot of hats from like local establishments, and I haven't. And one day in town, I bought this $3.50 hat from the dollar store, and I guess it doesn't really hold its moisture that well because it's constantly dripping. And when I look at my phone, all that's ever happened is the sweat's dripping on the phone, and that actually shows up as kind of like keystrokes, and it jacks up the whole thing. So those are some of my frustrations for the day. Here's an observation, which people may get upset about, but you know, I don't really care. I pride myself, I think, on noticing the little things a lot of people don't notice in terms of people and other stuff. So here's something to take a look at next time you're watching TV. And one way I applaud our country and the ad agencies, another way I have to laugh at the hypocrisy of it. So I don't watch a lot of TV in the last 8 weeks I've been on this journey, but last night I was in a hotel room and watching a little bit of TV during the late afternoon and early evening, and football games were on. I don't know if anybody's noticed this, and it's kind of a neat thing about our society and about our I guess, the acceptance of things, but I noticed, I think it was 4 or 5 commercials yesterday where the ad agencies had a mixed racial couple predominantly in the ad. And, you know, that's part of our society, and I certainly welcome it and accept it of it. But what I had to kind of laugh about is in each and every one of them, it's a white guy with a black woman, and that's fine. There's plenty of those that are out there in our mainstream. But it made me laugh. How come there's no black guy, white woman? And I guess if I'm being honest with us, it has to be to me, because as our society is starting to move and become more accepting, we're not quite ready to accept that yet. So when we talk about racism and things of that nature still existing and people want to deny it, I would bring that up as an example to justify that it still does exist, because I think our society, you know, we can sit there and go, what are you talking about? We're highlighting, you know, interracial couples that are in our ads, and you sure are, but I've yet to see one that has black guy, white woman, and I've met plenty of those couples out here in the world, and they're as predominant as any other mixed race relationship. So that was just an observation I made. I'm sure someone will read into what they want to read into it and come at me and hate me for that, but so that was one of the things. Then I left Afton this morning, and I want to say this, and again, please don't take this the wrong way. Hang on with me to the end before you hear what I have to say, because I want to give credit to the amazing people, Cindy and the crew that welcomed me into Afton yesterday and last night. So as I got into Afton, I got into what I would say is the outskirts of town. I didn't get into the downtown portion of Afton. I didn't know anything about Afton other than it's a place on the map. And Cindy had gotten word that I was coming through town, and in less than an hour had arranged for a place for me to stay and a hot meal and a group of folks to meet and talk with last night. That's an incredibly appreciated gesture on her part and the town's part. I thoroughly enjoyed meeting all the folks, and I'm sorry guys, I actually pulled over to get myself a water break because it is hot out here, so I forgot about that. But bear with me just a minute, I apologize. to me, so many of the towns are defined by the people of the town, and not what they look like or who they are. It's the people. But I can say this, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. Having left this morning and walked through what was essentially downtown Afton and stopping at the one mini mart in town, I will say that I think Afton is far and away the most economically depressed town that I've been through along my route. I took some pictures, and I didn't take pictures to embarrass anybody or a town. I took the pictures for my own benefit, to share with my children and myself, to remember that you know, to appreciate what we have. I've been through some pretty affluent towns, and I've met some pretty affluent people on the way, and I've been through some tougher towns and some people that are surviving. I'm not sure how they're going to pay the electric bill next week, and that's all been part of the journey. And I've been a little bit on both sides in my own lifetime. But I say that about Afton not to belittle it or tear it down, but actually to prop up the people of the town, because when you know, Chris Rock does a bit in a video where he says, you know, you got $30 million and you get divorced and you lose half, you can still live pretty comfortably. You got $30,000 a year and you lose half. Now your living significantly changes. And you know, I didn't know anything about the town of Afton short of the people I met last night, and I could say that based upon the people, the town is as rich and affluent as any town I've been in. The folks were pleasant, supportive, positive, upbeat, smiling, laughing, and you know, unbeknownst to me is what the town was like. And again, this is not to knock the town, but to pump up the people, because these people are rich in every way. So to Cindy and the folks of Afton, after having been through the town, which in my opinion, is my opinion only, seemed to be certainly not a booming epicenter of commerce and culture. You know, I really thank you guys for reaching out to me the way you did. So again, guys, please understand this is meant to be a positive of Cindy and the town folk, not a condemnation of the town. So, you know, it kind of reminds me of going back to Jennifer back in Baxter Springs, who picked me up off the street and kind of was questioning why I was doing, and her kind of biggest beef was, you know, Jim, there are a lot of people that truly are needy. Maybe you're not so needy after all, and there are people that are a lot needier than you that could use some compassion sometimes. And she's right. And sometimes, as she said, her dad was somebody that was, you know, not wealthy, yet he would give the shirt off his back to people. And that's kind of how I look at the folks of Afton. These folks are not the wealthiest people in the world, and yet they didn't hesitate to offer kindness and compassion to me, a stranger walking through town. And I'll always remember them for that, and always remember Afton that way. So thank you guys, I love you for that, and I'll leave it at that. So let's see, I shared a couple of observations about some commercial advertising and how our society's changing. I shared the fact that I got a cheap ass hat that drips on me every minute of the day, and I got a damn shoulder strap that's driving me crazy. Talked about Afton. This is kind of interesting. When you Google map a town, Veneta, I think, is still 15 miles ahead of me here by car. But if you take a walking path and go a few different ways, it might only be like 13 miles. So I know yesterday I was kind of not condemned, what's the word I'm looking for? Encouraged to stay on the beaten path. But you know, when you're walking 800 something miles, two miles goes a long way on your legs. And quite frankly, if you look over my shoulder, there's not a whole lot between to stay on the beaten path, meaning a whole lot to me. So my service has been spotty out here. And then lastly, I want to talk about something which I hope is going to be humorous. It may call somebody out, but I'm going to